Passion for worship, 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 passion for worship.
Alhamdulillahi Rabbil Alameen, wassalatu wassalamu ala Sayyidil Mursaleen. Amma ba'd, fa'a'udhu billahi minash shaytanir rajeem. Bismillahir Rahmanir Rahim. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Rasulallah. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Habiballah. As-salatu wassalamu alayka ya Nabiyallah. Wa ala alika wa ashabika ya Noorallah. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, welcome to our program Passion for Worship. Passion for worship is essential for all of us. It increases our love for Allah Azza wa Jal. It boosts our spirituality and it increases the chance of us being accepted in the divine court of our Rabb Azza wa Jal. Having passion for worship will increase us in our love for performing salah, for performing other acts of worship such as sending salawat upon the beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, such as performing and giving our zakat, such as performing hajj and various other acts as well. Inshallah Azza wa Jal, in this series, we will be talking about different acts which will help us attain the love, closeness and pleasure of Allah Azza wa Jal. And inshallah Azza wa Jal, we will be trying to increase our passion for performing these acts. And one of the acts which we can do, and that is the topic for today's episode, is seeking Islamic knowledge. Inshallah Azza wa Jal, in today's episode, we will be speaking about the excellencies mentioned in the glorious Quran and blessed Hadith regarding seeking Islamic knowledge. We'll be talking about the passion our pious predecessors had for seeking Islamic knowledge and especially instilling it within the hearts of the children. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, knowledge is the legacy of the blessed Anbiya. Knowledge is a way of getting close to Allah Azza wa Jal. Knowledge is the source of guidance. Knowledge is the source of protection from sins. Knowledge is a great method of developing fear of Allah Azza wa Jal. Knowledge is the source of attaining success in this world and in the hereafter. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, there are countless blessings of seeking Islamic knowledge. Let's start by listening to a short incident which highlights to us the importance our pious predecessors had upon seeking Islamic knowledge and instilling that knowledge within their children. It is mentioned, Sayyidina Abdul Wahhab bin Ata Khaffaf rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh has said, when in the reign of the Khilafat of Banu Umayyah, Sayyidina Abu Abdul Rahman Farooq rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh went to Khurasan to guard the boundaries. His wife was expecting a baby. He left 30,000 dinars with his wife. When he returned to Madinatul Munawwara 27 years later, he reached his home and he pushed his door in with a spear. Sayyiduna Rabi'a rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh came out as he saw a man armed at his door. He said, "O bondman of Allah, do you want to attack my house?" Sayyidina Farooq rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi replied, "No, I do not want to attack your house. You tell me, how dare you go into my house?" And when they were about to fight, while this argument was going on, the neighbors came. One of those was Sayyidina Malik bin Anas rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi. And when he came, Sayyidina Imam Malik interrupted and asked Abu Abdurrahman Farooq rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, "Who are you and what are you doing?" He replied, "My name is Farooq and this is my home." His wife, who was behind the door at this point, said, "He is my husband who has come back after 27 years and Rabi'a is his son. I was pregnant with Rabi'a when the father left and now he has returned and they have never met before." After hearing this, the father and the son, out of joy and happiness, shed tears and hugged each other. Sometime after having a meal and taking rest, Sayyidina Abu Abdul Rahman rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi asked his wife, where are the 30,000 dinars which I left? She humbly said, I have buried it somewhere and I will take it out after a few days. Sayyiduna Rabi'a rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh went to the masjid to perform a dars. While he was performing that dars, his father came to offer salah. When Sayyidina Farooq rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh had finished offering his salah, he sat down in the halaqah of dars and he asked the people, who is this beautiful person imparting knowledge and wisdom? Because he could not recognize who the individual was. One person turned to him and said, he is Rabi'a, the son of Abu Abdurrahman. Having heard this, he became very happy and said, what a great status Allah Azza wa Jal has blessed my son with. He rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi then went back to his home and said to his wife, today I have seen your son's great status. He is an ocean of Islamic knowledge. His wife said, do you want your 30,000 dinars or this great and lofty status of your son? He replied, I swear to Allah Azza wa Jal, I do not want anything in return for this great blessing and bounty of Allah Azza wa Jal. His wife then said, listen, I spent all the dinars on the Islamic education of your son. Having heard this, he rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi said, by Allah Azza wa Jal, you did not waste my money, but rather spent it in a proper manner. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, from this short parable, we see the importance that the mother and father of Sayyidina Rabi'a rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi placed on his Islamic education. The father had left 30,000 dinars. The mother decided to spend all 30,000 dinars on the Islamic education of her child. And 20 plus years later, when the father of Sayyidina Rabi'a rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi returned and he saw the great status of his son, he was happy that his wealth had been spent on the Islamic education of his child. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, it is a great lesson for us that we should be happy to spend our wealth on the Islamic education of our children. We see many people are willing to spend money on the worldly education of their children, but those same people are not so eager to spend money on the Islamic education of their children. From this incident, we see the passion our pious predecessors had for spending their wealth on the Islamic education of their children. And inshallah Azza wa Jal, now we will mention some excellencies regarding Islamic education and Islamic scholars which are mentioned in the Holy Quran. And perhaps this is the reason why our pious predecessors had so much passion for instilling the love of Islamic education in the hearts of their children. It is mentioned in verse 18 of Surah Ali Imran, translation from Kanzul Iman. Allah has testified that there is none worthy of worship but Him, and so did the angels and those of knowledge, while maintaining justice. The father of Ala Hazrat, Mufti Naqi Ali Khan, rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, has said, 3 virtues are proved by this blessed verse. First, Allah Azza wa Jal has made the mention of Islamic scholars with Himself and angels. Secondly, He Azza wa Jal has also made Islamic scholars the witnesses of His oneness, like angels, and declared their testimony to be the evidence of Him being the one who is worthy to be worshipped. And thirdly, the testimony of them, i.e. the Islamic scholars, has also been considered to be authentic, like the testimony of angels. Subhanallah. And similarly, in a different place in the glorious Quran, it is mentioned, again translation from Kanzul Iman, Allah will raise the excellent believers amongst you and those who are given knowledge to high ranks. Sayyidina Ibn Abbas radiyallahu ta'ala anhuma has said, the status of Islamic scholars will be elevated 700 times more than the status of ordinary believers. There is a distance of 500 years between every 2 levels. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, just ponder, if an ordinary Muslim is blessed with paradise, it is sufficient for him. But feel envy at the look of an Islamic scholar who will not only be blessed with paradise, but his status will be elevated 700 times more than the status of an ordinary believer. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, from these blessed verses, the excellence of Islamic knowledge and the people of Islamic knowledge, i.e. the scholars, can be understood. But it is not limited to only the blessed Quran. Even in the blessed hadith of the beloved Prophet ﷺ, there are countless narrations mentioning the excellence of studying the religion of Islamic scholars. I just want to mention 3 of these narrations with the intention of inspiring those of us who are not students, those of us who are not scholars, to start studying the religion and to put the love of seeking Islamic knowledge within the hearts of children and our coming generations. The beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have said, "The person who leaves his home to gain Islamic knowledge is in the way of Allah Azza wa Jal until he returns." In another place, the beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam is reported to have said, "The one who learns 1 or 2 or 3 or 4 or 5 kalimat, i.e. words, about the obligatory acts of Allah Azza wa Jal and memorizes them properly, and then teaches them to people, he will enter paradise." Subhanallah. In another narration, it is reported the beloved Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, "Allah Azza wa Jal will resurrect bondmen on the day of judgment. He Azza wa Jal then will separate Islamic scholars and say to them, 'Oh, the group of Islamic scholars, I know you. That's why I bestowed knowledge upon you. And I did not give you knowledge for making you suffer torment. Go, I have forgiven you." Subhanallah. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, it has been understood from these mentioned narrations that gaining Islamic knowledge is the cause of pleasing Allah Azza wa Jal, the source of forgiveness and salvation, and a guarantee of entering paradise. How great is the virtues of Islamic scholars. Allama Maulana Mufti Muhammad Amjad Ali Azami Rahmatullahi Ta'ala Alayhi has said, "Knowledge is not something whose excellence and virtues need to be mentioned. The whole world knows that knowledge is something much better, and gaining it is a sign of eminence. It is the thing through which human life becomes successful and pleasant. It is that thing which makes the world and the hereafter better." And he mentions this knowledge means the knowledge that is gained from the Quran and Hadith. May Allah Azza wa Jal give us all true love for seeking knowledge and make us from amongst those who seek knowledge and desire to make the coming generations seek knowledge as well. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, nowadays, even though we know the excellences regarding Islamic scholars and seeking Islamic knowledge, we see that a lot of people in society do not give true value to Islamic knowledge or Islamic scholars. The majority of people look down upon seeking Islamic knowledge. The majority of people in our society are neither themselves inclined towards seeking Islamic knowledge, nor do they give their children Islamic education. They give their children lots of worldly education of various different subjects in schools and colleges and universities, like maths, science, etc., etc. But they do not instill that love for Islamic education. If the parents see that there is one child who is extremely clever and quick, they will desire to make him a doctor, an accountant, a solicitor, an engineer, or some sort of other businessman. And the Islamic education will be a secondary thought. But if they see that one of the children is dull, he's a bit slow, they will try to push that child towards the madrasa. They will try to push that child towards seeking Islamic education and make his secondary objective the worldly education. And this sort of mindset, my dear viewers of Madani Channel, it gives our children the impression from a young age and this understanding that we are valuing worldly knowledge more than Islamic knowledge, because those of our children who are clever and quick-witted, we are pushing them towards worldly education and we are emphasizing to them the importance of worldly education and a good career. But we are not emphasizing the importance of Islamic knowledge. And to those who are dull or a bit slow, we are pushing Islamic education. We are giving this mindset, if you are not good for the world, you are for the deen. And if you are too good, you're not for the deen, you're for the world. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, we need to get out of this mindset and start bringing our children towards seeking Islamic education. At no point am I saying that seeking worldly knowledge is bad. If it is done within the boundaries of Sharia, yes, go and become accountants, go and become solicitors, go and become engineers, go and become doctors. But at the same time, don't neglect Islamic knowledge. There is a certain amount of Islamic knowledge which is obligatory upon every single Muslim. In the pursuit of worldly knowledge and a good career, do not neglect seeking Islamic knowledge. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, I want to mention a few incidents and occurrences from the life of our pious predecessors, those people whose names we hear regularly. And I want to highlight to you and emphasize to you, look at the passion they had for seeking Islamic knowledge at a young age, and look at the passion their parents had for pushing them towards Islamic education at a young age. Khalifa Harun Rashid, he was a very pious individual. He was the Khalifa of the time. And he was an individual who knew the value and respect of Islamic knowledge. Once he humbly requested Imam Kisai rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi for the education of his son. So he rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi said, I will not come to your place to teach. Rather, the prince must come to my home. But the Khalifa of the time, Harun Rashid, then responded, can he be taught first? He rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi replied, it is not possible, but rather the one who will come first will be taught first. In short, after all of this, the son of Khalifa Harun Rashid started studying with Imam Kisai. And one day, by chance, while he was studying, the Khalifa Harun Rashid, his father, he passed by. And at that moment, the son of the Khalifa Harun Rashid was pouring water, and his teacher Imam Kisai was washing his feet. After seeing this, the king, Khalifa Harun Rashid, he furiously dismounted from his horse. And he whipped his child. And he said to him, "O disrespectful one, why did Allah Azza wa Jal bless you with two hands? Pour water with one hand and wash the feet of the teacher with the other hand." This is the respect the king of the time was giving to an Islamic scholar. He was teaching his child the respect and honor of an Islamic scholar. And why was he respecting an Islamic scholar? Because he knew the importance and value of knowledge, and he wanted to instill that within his child. When an Islamic scholar would come to the court of Harun Rashid, the king would stand up out of his reverence. Once the courtiers humbly asked, "O Amirul Mu'mineen, the dignity of kingship is reduced." He replied, "If the dignity of kingship is reduced due to revering Islamic scholars, then it is worthy of being reduced." Similarly, Amirul Mu'mineen, Sayyidina Umar bin Abdul Aziz rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, made an extremely nice arrangement for the education and upbringing of his son. He appointed a great muhaddis, Sayyidina Salih bin Kisan rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi, as the teacher of his children. It is narrated about the respected father of Hujjatul Islam, Sayyidina Imam Ghazali rahmatullahi ta'ala alayhi. Though he was not educated himself, but he knew the significance of Islamic knowledge. He knew the importance of Islamic knowledge. He had the respect for Islamic knowledge. That's why he wished for both of his sons, Muhammad Ghazali and Ahmad Ghazali, rahimahumullah ta'ala, to gain knowledge of Sharia and Tariqah. For this purpose, he saved some wealth which greatly helped both of his sons to gain Islamic knowledge. Likewise, our Ghaus-e Pak, Sayyidina Shaykh Abdul Qadir Jilani rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, he reached Baghdad in his childhood, even though he was from Jilan. For what reason did he reach Baghdad? He reached Baghdad for gaining Islamic knowledge with the permission of his mother. Ala Hazrat rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh also started gaining Islamic knowledge in his childhood. He completed the Nazira of the Holy Quran at a very young age of 4 years and 6 months. And then just at the age of 13 years, 10 months and 4 days, he completed gaining knowledge of all the subjects generally studied in his era from his respected father, Maulana Naki Ali Khan, and received the degree of completion of his education. Dear viewers of Madani Channel, from these events, it has been understood that our pious predecessors used to make their children busy in gaining Islamic knowledge. They would instill the love of seeking Islamic knowledge in their hearts from a young age. That's why when they grew up, they became some of the greatest scholars of Islamic history, because in their childhood, their parents would instill the love of seeking Islamic knowledge. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, I urge all of you, or those of you with children, those of you who will have children in the future, those of you with nephews and other young children in the house, please emphasize the importance of Islamic knowledge to the younger generation, to your coming generations. Inshallah Azza wa Jal, by doing this in their young childhood, you do not know which one of them will grow up to be one of the greatest scholars of that time. May Allah Azza wa Jal give us all the ability and love for seeking Islamic knowledge. My dear viewers, one of the satanic traps and whispers which the shaitan puts into the hearts and minds of those who start seeking Islamic knowledge is that how will he make sustenance? How will he gain sustenance in this world? His sustenance will decrease if he focuses on Islamic education rather than worldly education. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, listen to this great hadith of the beloved Prophet ﷺ addressing this exact issue and giving us an answer and comfort to this satanic whisper. The Prophet ﷺ has told us centuries ago that the one who will gain Islamic knowledge, Allah Azza wa Jal will ease his difficulties and will bestow sustenance upon him from the place where he has not even thought about. And one example from Islamic history which highlights this perfectly and is a shining example of this is the incident between Imam Azam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh and Qazi Abu Yusuf rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh. It has been narrated that Sayyidina Qadi Abu Yusuf Yaqub bin Ibrahim rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, that he became an orphan in his childhood. His mother made him work with a washerman so that he could run his home. Once he went to the gathering of Imam Azam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh and liked so much the things that were being mentioned in that gathering that he started sitting in the gathering instead of working with the washerman. When the mother knew, she took him to the washerman. When the matter got further severe, i.e. Imam Abu Yusuf rahmatullahi ta'ala continued to sit in the gathering of Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh instead of going to the washerman, his mother said to Imam Azam rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, there is no one to bring this child up. I send him to the washerman so that he can earn something, but you have spoiled him. Sayyidina Imam Azam rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, he says, "O the fortunate, let him gain knowledge. The day is not far when he will be eating the halwa of almonds and pure ghee and nice faluda." Having heard this, the mother of Imam Abu Yusuf rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh got very displeased and said, "Are you making fun of us? How can poor people like us eat the halwa of almonds and pure ghee?" Imam Abu Yusuf rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh continued to gain Islamic knowledge with steadfastness, and the time came when he got the post of Chief Justice. Once the Caliph of the time invited him, and during the feast the Caliph said, putting forward the halwa of almonds and pure ghee and nice faluda, "O Imam, eat this halwa." It is not easy for us to get something such as this prepared every day. Having heard this, Imam Abu Yusuf rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh recalled the words of his teacher, Imam Azam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, and started smiling. When the Khalifa asked why he was smiling, he replied, "My respected teacher, Sayyiduna Imam Azam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh said to my mother years ago, this son of yours will eat the halwa of almonds and pure ghee and faluda. Today the statement of my respected teacher has come true." He then related the whole event of his childhood to the Caliph. So he became very surprised and said, "Undoubtedly, knowledge definitely benefits and makes a person of great status in the world and in the hereafter." My dear viewers of Madani Channel, in this parable, there are many Madani pearls for us. There are many great lessons for us. It has been understood from this that the pious saints can see the events that will occur in the future by virtue of their Islamic intelligence and wisdom. In this incident, Sayyidina Imam Abu Hanifa rahmatullahi ta'ala alayh, he knew what Imam Abu Yusuf was going to eat in years to come. We also learn the special attention of a good teacher makes a person something very special. Further, it has also been learned that Islamic knowledge brings about success in this world and the hereafter. Even renowned worldly people do not attain the status and rank which the devotees of knowledge easily attain. Therefore, we should not only gain Islamic knowledge ourselves, but we should also encourage those around us, our children, our parents, our siblings, our friends, our colleagues, to all start seeking Islamic knowledge and develop this environment where every child in our society is instilled with the love and passion for seeking Islamic knowledge in their youth. Remember, after death, nothing will help other than righteous deeds. Wealth, bank balance, beautiful buildings, big cars, and worldly status and rank will be left here. It will not be going with you in the grave or the hereafter. But the benefits of Islamic knowledge will continue to benefit you even after you pass away from this world. The beloved Rasul sallallahu alaihi wasallam has said, when a person dies, all his deeds are disconnected except for 3 deeds. Sadaqah Jariyah, permanent source of divine reward. Number 2, the knowledge from which benefit is obtained. And 3, righteous children who make dua for them. My dear viewers of Madani Channel, if you look at the last 2 in this, is emphasized knowledge and pious children who will make dua. Only those children who have been given Islamic knowledge, been instilled with the love of Islamic knowledge, will be the ones who make dua. Those accountants or solicitors or doctors or engineers who have not been given any Islamic education, how will they know when to do dua, how to do dua, if we should do dua? But look at that fortunate person who instilled the love of Islamic knowledge in the heart of his children. After he passes away, his actions will not be finished. That child which he instilled the love of seeking Islamic knowledge and hopefully made him into an Islamic scholar, that child will continue to benefit that father or that mother in the grave. May Allah Azza wa Jal give us all a passion for seeking Islamic knowledge. Ameen. Bijahin Nabi al-Ameen. Sallu ala al-Habib. Sallallahu ta'ala ala Muhammad. Sallallahu alayhi wa sallam.
Passion for worship, 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 passion for worship.